Hey, this is Carl Slominski.
And this is Jenna Lynn Wright.
And you're listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Amazing. Amazing.
Oh, amazing. I like that. Started
Done
with 2
in
hours.
one. Yep.
You could say Dap has his O face on. Oh.
I'm talking to you.
You could
tonight.
say
Got
that.
it.
Yeah. I love the ampersand.
Right?
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. It's such
Interesting.
it's different, but it stands out in the font. No matter what font it is, the ampersand stands out.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
It does. No. Like, you can get boring and go Arial, but the ampersand still stands out.
Still going to ampersand. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ampersand.
I'm not mad at it. I don't think I use it very often, but I guess I'm not mad at it.
I use it all the time. I separate notes with a string of ampersands.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Fucking trailblazer over
You
here.
go.
This is 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 1043, and I am Vince B.
You are Vince B. I am David A. Price.
This is True Mere Mortals, and I am Sid the White Stag.
Wow. You're not, but it's funny. You're Jason Wood, everybody, together. Again, thanks to cheapgraphicnovels.com. Cheapgraphicnovels.com. What do you need to know? Nothing. Far below retail price for your omnibus edition, your DC's Finest, your Marvel Epic collections, your trade paperbacks, your collected editions, everything, but sure, it's the same thing. But anyway, if it wasn't enough that they have cheap shipping, secure shipping, fast shipping, and low prices, they have a dedicated sale for their Nick and Dent, which are neither Nick nor Dent, and they have a rotating thematic sale. They also have a list of specials handpicked for you, but Dap picks me further.
I do. And this week, I've chosen Conan the Adventurer, the original comics years omnibus volume 1 for $41.99. Conan the Adventurer collected for the first time ever and given the now classic omnibus collection treatment, featuring unseen bonus material and an all-new introduction a year after the demise of the legendary Conan the Barbarian comic, which had run for 275 issues. Conan the Cimmerian returned in Conan the Adventurer, an all-new comic written by Conan stalwart Roy Thomas and illustrated by Raphael Kianan and John Watkiss. Before he was king, he was Conan the Adventurer. Aimed at a younger audience, the new series chronicled the exploits of a young Conan the Barbarian as he leaves the Cimmerian Snowhawk tribe for the first time to explore the world beyond. The series was conceived as a companion to the animated Conan the Adventurer TV show, although it was not an adaptation. This collection features all 14 issues of the comic run, as well as rarely seen bonus material, with all the classic Conan elements you've come to expect: witchcraft, savage battles, seemingly insurmountable odds, and fantastically detailed and rendered action scenes. Given the unique omnibus treatment, this is a must for any hardcore Conan fan. DC Finest Batman Blind Justice trade paperback for $23.99, a cerebral Batman thriller that uncovers Bruce Wayne's buried past and tests the limits of justice. Crafted by the screenwriter of the 1989 Batman film, Bruce Wayne is accused of espionage and faces the loss of his company, his reputation, and his freedom. As Batman investigates, he uncovers a sinister conspiracy tied to a secret government project and a forgotten chapter of his own past. Introducing Henri Ducard, a mysterious mentor from Bruce's early training days, Blind Justice explores themes of identity, justice, and the cost of secrets. Collects Batman numbers 430 through 435, Detective Comics numbers 596 through 603, Batman Annual number 13, Detective Comics Annual number 2, and Stories from Secret Origins numbers 36 and 39. And finally, Phantom, the 2026 series, Volume 1 trade paperback for $13.49. The Ghost Walks Again. The Phantom returns. Created by Lee Falk in 1936, the Phantom is one of the first costume superheroes in history with untold influence on pop culture. Now, critically acclaimed creators Ray Fawkes and Russell Olson revive the character for fans old and new. When a violent gang of smugglers stumbles on an idyllic Bandar village, the peace that the Phantom has brought to the African nation of Bangala will suddenly shatter. It will take all of the Phantom's many skills and allies to restore it. The most exciting series of the year starts here. Those are your specials for this week.
Case in point, the Raphael Kayanan, however you say it, work is incredible on that Conan.
And you were mentioning him last week, right?
I always mention him. But the series didn't last long, hence one and done omnibus. But it is incredible. It is worth the money and more. So
I would think.
cheapgraphicnovels.com.
And the
it's
the Batman book. I chose that because I remember issue 600 with that great Sienkiewicz cover. There was a 3-part story where they actually used for the first time. They were using the architecture. They actually got the not the set designer, but the person responsible for I think it was Anton, the person responsible for a lot of the look of Gotham City for Tim Burton's Batman movie, and they used a lot of those backgrounds in that Batman story. It's
I
a
can't
story
remember
where
if it was Anton or
Yes.
or Sam Hamm.
Sam Hamm was the writer, but I think was it Anton first? But Anton was the
Anton
architect
first, yeah.
He was the architect
Right,
of Gotham.
right.
Sam Hamm was the writer, and so Hamm wrote these issues. And I remember there's one particular thing that stuck out to me from that story, and it's basically Bruce Wayne has made it possible for him to condense 8 hours of sleep in 45 minutes, which is how he can be Batman most of the day. It's insane, but it's just, there are things I remember about, and it's Dennis Cowan art for that story. I do like that story. If I ever find those issues, I try to reclaim them. But yeah, it should be a fun little DC Finest collection.
There you go. cheapgraphicnovels.com.
Got a big box from them yesterday.
Nice.
Me too.
Yeah, I'll be
Nice.
placing an order because I gotta do the Brainiac Omnibus. I gotta do the Triangle Era. I got a couple of things I gotta pick up. I got a lot of shit on my wish list.
What, you didn't order the
I didn't do the
Brainiac?
pre-order. I didn't do the pre-order. I failed on and then I missed the window on the pre-order, and then the coming soon you can't click to add that to your cart. So you actually there's
can't.
pre-order, there's coming soon, and then there's just order. So yeah, now that it's available, I have to just put it in my cart.
Yeah, because I got a notification that it shipped, and I was like,
Nice.
Yes,
Excellent.
yeah.
I got the last 2 volumes of the latest 2 volumes of Lore Olympus, 8 and 9. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th volumes of the Mobile Suit Gundam Deluxe editions,
Yeah, I gotta do 5 and 6.
and then the thing that's on my list from Vince's Boo.
Yay! I am drinking.
Yeah.
It is a Cabernet Sauvignon from 2024 in California. It is a true winemaker's wine, so they say, from Dark Horse.
Ah.
Yeah, it wasn't expensive.
No, they're not.
Yeah, it was like $13, $14.
Mm-hmm.
around there. It's very good, very good. So Dark Horse Cabernet Sauvignon. I should practice the French. The French is good for therapy.
Oh yeah, you should.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Give me a couple of more girlfriends too.
That's right.
Go.
Yeah.
C'est bon. C'est bon.
C'est bon.
What you got, Boo?
Yes, sir.
You can hear. You can physically hear the stop button being pressed.
I have three things.
Wow.
Yeah, have some seltzer for later.
Right.
Have a glass of the same Rioja I was drinking last week, finishing the bottle. That's second. But right now, I have a glass of the bubbly. I have a glass of Prosecco. We are in celebration mode today. Today was a glorious day for all of us comic fans, and so I'm celebrating.
And we have a list.
And yes. So
That's all part of the celebration. All part of the
You'll
celebration.
definitely hear about the reason the celebration.
You'll hear the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be lists.
I have I only have two things. Sorry, Jason. I have my 130 degree water over here in my tumbler, and I have been drinking this because I had chicken parm for dinner. So I opened this so I could put it in the decanter so it'd be ready for tonight. And this is I've had it before, I believe. It's Domaine Bousquet. It's a reserve. It's a Malbec from 2024, made with organic grapes. It's a Bousquet. It is from Mendoza, Argentina. It was actually IWSC 2023 Best Red Wine Producer Trophy. And yeah, I don't think this... Well, I'll bring the bottle downstairs when we're done so I can put whatever's left in the decanter in it, unless it accidentally gets finished. Or I have a feeling it'll be gone by the end of the weekend because the bottle is... Well, what's left in the decanter is... I've probably drank about half the bottle by now. I don't know why. I'm feeling... I'm in a good mood.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Bottom line is nothing.
So say we all. Just like Admiral Adama, so say we all. Like, listen.
Oh my God.
This has been for the Marvel zombies among us. This has been dark days. Dark days.
Yeah.
This has been, as we talked about. Relax there, Keemstop.
Be fair. The tail end has been dark days.
I'm getting to that.
Right.
As we've discussed many times, the position Marvel finds itself in 2026 is unprecedented in our fandom. And that includes the fact that they once went bankrupt during our fandom. Mm-hmm. Because the difference between prior downs for Marvel, and there have been several, is that this time it wasn't industry related. Like when Marvel was going bankrupt, the whole industry was fucked. When Marvel had other down points, it's because the industry was being upended by different things, whether it be the economy or the speculator boom or what have you. This time, Marvel was fucked because of Marvel. Comics, as an industry, haven't been healthier in decades. Comic sales are up. American comic sales are up. Collected edition sales are up. Single issue sales are up. Obviously, manga sales continue to grow. All ages comics in non-retail channels doing awesomely. The only part of the comics landscape that most of us have cared about for a lot of our lives that has been struggling has been the House of Ideas, because they've been full of shitty ideas or lack of any ideas.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah, and that finally trickled down into business. Now, again, we don't nearly as much care about the business because we don't own Marvel, but it is noteworthy that literally now this is not about creativity, because there have been plenty of times where I think DC's done amazing work and has been right on par with Marvel, over the years. But from a business standpoint, no matter where you stood on the Marvel DC debate, Marvel always had the leg up. Always were the larger company in terms of market share, et cetera, until this last 2 years. And it wasn't just like DC was edging them out a little bit finally. DC was kicking their ass and taking their names. And the thing that we've said many times is that I don't know if change is going to fix what ails them. That remains to be seen. But I for sure knew that doing what they've been doing with the people running the show that have been running the show was not going to fix it. And as of today, as I'm sure many of our listeners already know, but as of today, and they were recording, it has been made official that CB Cebulski is no longer Marvel's editor-in-chief. And to that I say huzzah. Now again, I've met CB. He seems like a perfectly reasonable human being. I know many of our buddies that are in the industry think highly of him as a person, so I'm not like dancing on dude's grave. I think it's important to acknowledge that he's in fact not out of work. Marvel is assigned, he's got a new job. He's editor of Asia Originals. I think that's in and of itself hilarious, considering that, you know,
the history there.
He's most notorious for pretending to be a person of Asian descent and a creator, and basically, so whatever, but they apparently are, he's going back to that era. But either way, he's still got a job. But Marvel has made the decision to replace him with, and then the second part of this is who would they replace him with? Obviously, the easiest thing would be to replace him in-house, which is what often happens. In fact, you know, CB obviously got elevated when they bounced Axel, and they didn't do that. I mean, they kind of did it, but they brought a once insider back in, the once and future king, and that is Mr. Steve Wacker. Steve is coming back to Marvel as the editor-in-chief. He was at Marvel until 4 years ago. But, you know, that is a name longtime listeners undoubtedly know because we talked a lot about him over the years. He edited some of the very best things that happened at both big two companies over the time we've been doing the show. You know, his most notable, like the first time people really took note of him was he was the editor for 52. And if you think about an editor's job, that is a fucking Herculean task because you're trying to take, you know, four different like Hall of Fame caliber writers, all with very different styles, all with big personalities, and getting them to work collaboratively on one cohesive weekly story involving hundreds of characters. And I think because of how well that went off, even though Wacker was like a junior editor at the time, that really raised his profile. I think the people that worked with him, like Wade and Morrison and the others, like thought really highly of him and how he handled the process, and that made him a rising star. He then got recruited to go from DC to Marvel to become a senior editor, and he was the editor for what is, you know, you guys can tell me if you disagree, but what I would say is probably the most successful creative run of Spider-Man in our time doing the show. You know, when they were doing Thrice Weekly and the Brain Trust and stuff, that was his. One more day. He oversaw that. He also oversaw what's that?
The Brand New Day era.
Yeah, and one more day. He also oversaw books like Lemire's Daredevil and Hawkeye. He brought in Kelly Sue DeConnick to do her first Marvel writing, including, of course, Captain Marvel, which led to Miss Marvel. Basically just a kick-ass editor, and I've never heard a bad word spoken about him. He eventually went on to do other stuff at Marvel, like he oversaw a lot of their animation for, you know, half a decade. He oversaw a bunch of their TV, and then finally in 2022 left to become the editor at Jonathan Hickman's startup. You know, Hickman started his own publishing company, Three Worlds, Three Moons, the collective that's him and Nick Spencer and Mike Del Mundo and Mike Huddleston, and he went to be their editor and was working there as well as starting his own independent production company for the last few years, I guess, until Marvel decided to smarten up and lure him back to take over the reins. So now I know what Vince kind of alluded before we started, like, I do not blame anyone if you look at this news and say, like, with a side eye, and you think, well, let's just see. And I think that's totally fair, right? Because we have no idea what Steve's mandate will be, how much creative control he will be given, what kind of budget he has. There are lots of questions left to answer. But, you know, the investor in me says that there is so much low-hanging fruit. Like, he is, you know, you are buying low here. Like, do I feel confident that a year from now we're going to be doing the show saying, holy shit, Marvel's back? Right? I don't necessarily feel that way. I think that's maybe a bridge too far until we see it. But do I think there's a chance? And do I think we'll absolutely get at least some books that get us excited again? I absolutely do. Like, even if they're just pockets of greatness within, a line that we're overall still not super excited about, I think we are definitely going to get better output than we've had for the last 5-ish years. And so I don't really see any downside here because I just don't think it can really be any worse than it is. And maybe it'll be great again. Maybe it'll be great. At least as I sit here tonight, I have hope that it can be great again. And that would be, nothing would please me more. So needless to say, I'm very excited. But I also acknowledge, because I'm an adult and I'm not, I've been through the ringer. I understand it may not this may be a thud. 6 months from now, we may be saying, "Oh, remember when we were excited about Steve Wagner taking over?" But I'm going to be excited until I'm proven otherwise. The floor.
Yeah. There's no point being the naysayer in this argument, because you're right. It is low-hanging fruit. There are Marvel books that are really, really good, but the majority of them are not. And I think Whacker coming in is a good thing, because it'll invigorate, it'll get those creative juices flowing. Maybe we'll get some new characters out of it and stop saying Miss Marvel constantly. Maybe
He does love Miss Marvel, just for the record.
Yeah, I do. Maybe it's a good
No, I
thing.
mean Whacker does. Silly. I mean, he's a fan.
Oh, he does.
He was the editor in Miss Marvel. He was the editor. So.
Oh, well.
Just stop fighting it, Vince. It's not going away. It just.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
maybe it'll be a new golden age. Who knows?
Right.
But the way you framed it, the way you said it, that you can't get any lower. It's true. It's true. But so much so, I said it twice, that I think Steve Whacker can do no wrong until he does.
Right.
How about that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now DAP has the but, which I think is, again, very valid, especially the nostalgia part. So go ahead, Boo. I know what you're going to say.
Well, what's the
because there's another aspect to this news. There's another aspect to this news that I didn't touch on, which is that they are officially relocating Marvel Comics from New York City, to LA, joining DC. DC did it right before the pandemic, but now, as of that move, will happen by July of 2027. At which point, for the first time in American comics history, New York will not be the epicenter of American comics publishing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I felt some kind of way when DC moved to Burbank, and it just, that at least kind of made sense because of the change, not just with the movies and the live action entertainment, but there was a shift, there was a change in the comics as well. We had New 52, we had Rebirth, there was a lot of. There wasn't anything stable really, so I didn't feel the pull, because they'd so far distanced themselves, I felt, from New York, that the move just made sense, and it just and also like I said to the guys earlier today, I was just like, it's also, I mean, it's not like any of your locations in DC are like real world anyway, so that's fine. You don't need New York, but Marvel. As long as all of us have been reading, but Marvel has always been New York, and not just because Marvel Comics was publishing out of New York or making comics in New York that were published in Canada, but the characters, Avengers, Spider-Man, Daredevil, everybody that was New York. New York, you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting a superhero in New York if you're in Marvel Comics. Like, you'd have to, rarely would you find a character existing outside of New York. So that's the part that stings. I'm so happy for Steve Whacker, because I mean, the one more day, as much as everybody wants to crap on that, I thought it was, in the minority where I thought it was for the better. But even after that, and then we have Brand New Day with the webheads and Whackers overseeing all of that, and that had to be. I mean, just like at least with 52, yes, you had 4 writers and a myriad of artists, but it was just one title. He was part of. Whereas here, you had and that was weekly, and you did have Spidey 3 times a month, and then you'd have some offshoot spinoffs here and there. But it wasn't one writer. It was one writer working on an arc or so. It wasn't like 4 writers working on one book. So however, if we ever have a chance to talk to Steve and compare the 2 projects, but I'm super happy for Steve. I'm super happy for a new direction, for any sort of change we're going to get, and even if that like invigorates the crew with a change of scenery. I'm all for. But yeah, the fact that they are, and this is just me. This is just me being a sentimental fool. There is something about Marvel and DC was for a while, but Marvel is synonymous with New York. So to see Marvel Comics not and for years before they canceled the tours or just ended the whole idea of tours years ago, I have always wanted to visit the bullpen, visit the offices, the Marvel 5 Decades book that I think it was Les Daniels that put out. At least that gave you insight to what goes on. If you didn't have various issues of Marvel Age to read, you could see people working on Madison Avenue and other places where it's moved to over the years. But yeah, there is something about Marvel in New York and the fact that that they are just packing everything up and moving out west. I'm hopeful for the future. I'm happy for them. But yeah, there is something about Marvel not being in New York that's going to take a little while for me to get over.
I'm going to say this, right? That the move did DC really, really well.
It did.
Oh yes, no doubt. Yes,
I don't care where the books are made, as long as the books are good.
Right. Yes, that is the important thing. 100%. You're not wrong.
That is that. No, well, yes and no, but that is you. But that's the way you're seeing it, right? Who's going to tell you you're wrong? You're not.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said anytime someone is feeling emotional about a nostalgic thing, like you have every right to feel that way. Because Dap, Dap, that it's like like you said, it's an emotional thing. Like because Marvel Comics hasn't existed in the form that you're waxing nostalgically for in a long time. I mean,
yes,
99% of the people who have created Marvel Comics for the last 20 years have not lived in Manhattan. Like they don't.
Hell, they may not have even ever been to the States.
Still in Manhattan. Yeah, exactly. The only people that live in Manhattan that work at the 100 people that are being asked to move out west are the editors, the marketing people, the back office people, and the executives, right? And so, from a purely creative standpoint, this changes absolutely nothing. Other than, much like with DC, it will theoretically, it'll theoretically let the creative people in publishing have a stronger connection to and say with the actual bosses, which, again, a lot of people were super skeptical of DC's move to Burbank. Oh my God, all the comics are just going to turn into shills for the movies and the TV, and it's going to be terrible creatively. And now, fast forward, DC's in its most creatively successful period in decades, and the reason they're successful is nothing to do with the films. In fact, not surprisingly, right? They're now scrambling to, and it'll probably be a failure. They're now scrambling to make Absolute related media and not the other way around, because like all of the DC TV and film has been on the struggle bus, but their comics are kicking ass. And so again, we don't know that's how it's going to go for Marvel, but I can see that it might, right? Like I can see that it might. And the other thing we should say is that I do put a lot of the weight on why I have really found Marvel completely frustrating creatively on Tom Brevoort becoming the de facto editor-in-chief. And what I mean by that is, yes, CB is the editor-in-chief, but Tom pretty much oversees all of the creative direction of the books, and that includes now, of course, X-Men, which he had never touched in his decades of being there beforehand, and X books have never been worse. So, like, I bring that up because Brevoort's an older gentleman. He's had a hell of a career, Hall of Famer, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to sell the guy short for what he's done, but I would be very surprised if a guy of his age, and I'm assuming he's put some shekels away. I'm sure he's been well compensated over the years. I would be shocked if he goes to Cali. I that would really surprise me, because I think it'd be easier for a New York guy his whole life to retire. Now, that's not been announced, but I'm going to assume that also part of this is that Brevoort's role either goes away completely or is shifted way, way back. And again, I don't wish ill on the man. I hope he's a millionaire many times over and has a beautiful retirement account and lives greatly. But I would absolutely love him to have little to no say on the next creative direction of Marvel. That would
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
So salute.
So, aren't you going to read your list?
Well, I'm not going to read a list. Our good friend Chris, longtime friend of the show, patron, aka Mr. Comic Book DB, rest in peace. Chris said when we were talking about this news today on the Slack, he said, "Hey, I would love for you guys to have an episode devoted to discussing the Marvel editors-in-chief and who you think are the best and worst." And I knew instantly, especially as soon as Vince read those words, he'd say, "You got to be fucking kidding me! I'm not doing that." And so I said, "Well, I don't know that we're going to do that, because ultimately it'll be a 2-hour fight about Stan being evil or good." But then Chris said, "Well, you don't have to, but even if you just exclude Stan or put him to the side, like, it'd be interesting to hear your guys' thoughts." So I don't think it makes good for good radio for us to go through every editor-in-chief in Marvel's history and discuss them. But I did provide a list to you guys because I think it might be interesting for a few minutes to riff on who we think are the best and worst in Marvel's history. And I think that for the sake of this, and I of course, you're grown-ass men, you can follow your own rules, but I prefer to say this about Stan. I think, like, Stan is the most notable editor-in-chief, right? And as we've discussed Stan in the past, like, there are lots of reasons to think poorly of Stan's business practices. There is also lots of reasons that he's inextricably linked to Marvel being what it is and its success. And he sort of is almost like his own thing. So, I mean, Stan is just like unto himself. Like, he is like EIC in quotes. Like, I don't know that he can be both the best and the worst, depending on what part of his business practices you find most important. So, like, I don't want to spend a lot of time, like, debating where Stan belongs. Like, I think you could, as we've done in the past, like, you can make plenty of cases as to why he's maybe the best and the worst, right? Like, I don't know that that's, like, all that interesting, because we've dissected Stan so many times. So I was thinking about, like, who, aside from the Stan, do I think were the best editors-in-chief, right? And that to me was just about, like, Marvel's best times and who was in charge. And so for me, and I'm just kind of going to go backwards. I have 3 guys I want to mention. I got to give it to Quesada, not because, like, I can't tell you for sure that, like, Quesada necessarily was, like, the greatest EIC in terms of all the things that maybe you have to do in that job, but he took over the company when it was in its last period of really down, and he completely flipped the script in terms of the kinds of comics they were going to put out. And it was super successful creatively, and then eventually financially. And for better or for worse, what he and his team did in terms of the new creative direction was absolutely foundational in setting up the MCU and Marvel moving into media, and the Disney acquiring them. So, like, I just think he was a huge success, and he was there for 12 years. So one of the longest running EICs as well. My number 2, and again, I'm not ranking these are just the 3 that came to mind. The next one I would have to shout out, and this one is an interesting one, is Jim Shooter. Now look, Shooter is inarguably one of the least favorite people among industry veterans ever. Like the people that worked for him hate his guts, right? Like if we were at a con and we were to say, "What do you think of Shooter?" and people were like, knew they were off the mic, most would be like, he was a fucking asshole. But when he took over in 1978, Marvel was in another horrible down point. It was the fucking inmates running the asylum. Sales were down. Creativity was stymied. They were getting their asses kicked by DC. And Shooter came in and admittedly was like a bulldog and a bull in a china shop in terms of the way he was autocratic and heavy-handed. And that's why a lot of people hate him. But he did give the company structure. And he did lead them through another super successful period. So I gotta again give him some love. And then the third and final that I'll shout out is Roy. Now we had Roy on the show for a very brief period of time, and I think you asked him about his time as EIC, if I'm not mistaken, Vince. And he was only EIC for like 2.5 years. And I think that he downplays his role. He said he hated the job, didn't want it. He kind of took over just because Stan stepped down, and he was the logical choice as the next guy. But I just think that I give him credit for being a bridge. It's really hard to follow someone who basically was the company, at least in terms of how the world perceived it. And I thought he did a nice job. And I thought that the books that came out under his watch continued to be awesome, and some even got better. So Roy's the third. But where do you all stand on this?
I may surprise you, but Stan was the EIC for most of the time that I read Marvel.
Yeah, to be clear to people, he was EIC from 1941 to 1972, excluding for 3 years, 42 to 45. He was in the army, so he actually,
right.
So but outside of his time in the army, he was EIC for 30 basically 30 years, 31 years all in. Yeah.
So it's kind of counterproductive for me to discount Stan. I may not like that guy personally, but what he did for Marvel was good. He made Marvel, but my favorite editor-in-chief is Jim Shooter.
My man, there you go.
Yeah, I think he did a lot of good things. Archie was good as well. That you could, from Roy on up to Jim Shooter, I think they all did good things. Roy, Len Wein, Jerry Conway. I know you don't like the dude; he's dead, but he's my favorite.
He was only editor in chief for like 6 months, but
right. But he, But I absolutely hate. I hate what Tom DeFalco did.
Yeah, he's the worst.
Yes, yeah, by far.
He's the worst.
But I have to give it up for Jim Shooter because Jim and Stan are cut from the same cloth. A lot of people like Jim. Most people hate him, but you can't discount what he did. Did he ruin comics forever with the Secret Wars? Probably.
Not in the moment, though. Again, you can't. I would argue that Secret Wars was a success unto itself, and then what people decided to do upon trying to mimic that success is what
right. Yeah, but what is the money worth? Is if it destroys? That's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
But I would say Stan, Archie, and Jim.
Okay. And DeFalco, your worst.
Oh, by far, yeah.
I would put DeFalco worst, followed right closely by Bob Harris.
Yep.
And then CB. And I may put CB behind Bob Harris, honestly, once I stew on it a little bit, but I've already felt like I've thrown enough dirt on the dude tonight, so but I think CB is absolutely in the conversation for worst EIC. Absolutely. So how about you, Dan?
Yeah. Mostly due to personal feelings. How I feel about the man. No. Don't.
You didn't work for them.
Don't jump ahead. I'm just saying. No. Okay. No. I've exchanged messages with him, and I'm just saying. No. Before this goes way off the fucking rails. My favorite editor in chief. After thinking about it for most of the day, knowing we were probably going to do this, and thinking about the editors who were, when I was actively reading, I'm not going to worry about, Roy or Fago, because they weren't. I wasn't reading books when they were EIC. So just based on when I was actively buying books as they were coming out, my favorite is Joe Quesada. And again, that's entirely that's just a personal emotional feeling that's not based on his track record of every. I mean, yes, that's part of it, but how I feel about the man, period, is why I would make him my favorite. Followed, and this is tricky. It's almost bittersweet, because while yes, Jim Shooter was the editor-in-chief when I was buying and reading Marvel regularly way back when, because when I was getting that subscription to Amazing Spider-Man during the John Romita Jr. early days, he was editor-in-chief. When Claremont was writing X-Men with Cockrum art and then Paul Smith on art, obviously he was editor-in-chief. So yes, he did great things for Marvel, because under Jim Shooter's reign at Marvel, we got Micronauts, we got ROM, we got Secret Wars, but we had a lot of great stories, whether it was by Bill Mantlo or Dave Michelini or Peter David. It doesn't matter. Jim Shooter was doing a great work. The problem with Jim Shooter as editor-in-chief has been mentioned countless times. Well, the main problem for me with Jim Shooter's editor-in-chief is the mandate that, and I agree with him, that every comic is someone's first, but that to the detriment of the story itself. Like you just because every comic is someone's first doesn't mean you need to take up half the issue with explaining every single ability that the X-Men have, taking up half the issue. I mean, Claremont's clever, and he was able to do it smartly, but if you have to do that, if you have to cram that into every comic, conversations don't feel natural. Not that comic book conversations always feel natural, because no one says everybody's full government name in conversations like they do in comics. So it's not, I get that. There's a certain way to write comics, but there are certain things, or certain aspects that Shooter wanted in his books that didn't always serve the story. But he still, however bad I might feel about that, the good definitely outweighs it all. So it's Quesada followed by Shooter. Absolutely, Bob Harris is up there as one of the. I mean, unfortunately for him, yes, he was picking up the pieces during the bankruptcy and the whole Toy Biz and Skybox bullshit, and it just, so it was unfortunate for him, but it's not like the books were really any good anyway. And yes, obviously Tom DeFalco. I mean, I don't know anybody who could have picked up after Jim Shooter, but DeFalco didn't do anything worth. I mean, besides kind of just, I felt not doing a good job following Byrne on the Fantastic Four either, but yeah, being editor-in-chief was not, it just stuck as a writer. Stick to Thunderstrike and we'll be fine. But I going back and rereading old issues from whether they're in omnibus or collections, reprints, whatever. Conway, Goodwin, well, not necessarily Conway, but or even Wolfman. I mean, he was there for a year or so, but yeah, I thought Archie, and again, not that there were a ton of books on the shelves during those years either, but Archie did what he could do. But yeah, following Shooter, it's Shooter and Quesada as far as the high points, and Axel, because there were some interesting ideas under Axel's reign. We got some funky mini series. I think we got some of the weirder works under Axel, because he got to bring over his Vertigo friends. But yeah, the Shooter, Quesada, Axel, and then everybody else is kind of just, as long as I've been reading, everybody else is in the negative column. I mean, I like you, Jason, I have no problems with CB as a person. But as far as being in charge of the company and their output, it hasn't exactly been a smashing success. And I cannot. It boggles my mind that it's been almost a decade that he's been EIC. I would have if put a gun to my head, I would have said it's only been a few years. I'm surprised. I would have thought he came on right after or during the pandemic. It blows my mind that he was pre-pandemic. And then so it can only go up from here. I'm not trying to put all the faith on Wagner and as if that's to jinx him, but based on everything we've seen in these past handful of years, there is nowhere to go but up. And I think Steve Wagner is perfect for the job, but yeah, it's Joe, Jim, and Axel, and then everybody else is thumbs down. Everybody else is thumbs down post after Shooter. Like, I'm not going to talk about the guys who were editing when I wasn't alive. So that's where I am.
And there we have it.
Yeah, I don't. It's funny. I don't have any. Well, I do have an opinion, but it's Joe Quesada didn't do anything that I wanted to read. It's amazing that on one hand it could be Depp's favorite editor, and on mine it could be like whatever Joe Quesada.
Yeah,
not even a blip.
That's crazy to me.
I don't think the Marvel Knights was all that great, but aside from Garth.
Yeah, he.
I mean, he did Max. He did Ultimate. I mean,
he did whatever.
I mean,
saying,
Icon. He introduced some shit. Like it's. I mean, we can't. Criminal is where fucking Icon gave us Criminal. I can't. But it's.
Yeah, I didn't say he didn't do anything.
No, but you were like,
as far as
you were like, listen, it was a flat. You basically said Marvel was flatlined during Joe Quesada's editorial.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you recognize, because my perspective wasn't about you recognize that was an incredibly period. Like,
sure.
Yeah.
He was moving some paper, but for the most part, they I read them. Yeah, everybody did. But if they stopped publishing Marvel Knights, I'd be like, whatever.
I also believe.
I'm just saying, like, Marvel Knights is what he started with, him and Paul Miyagi.
But he wasn't. But he wasn't editor. He wasn't EIC. He and Jimmy were just spearheading the Marvel Knights imprint.
He was EIC for 11 years, dude. I mean,
and then because of the success with Marvel Knights, and because Harris sucks, they gave it to Joe. But I want to make sure that any stumbles that may have occurred early on in Joe's reign, I believe, is tied to Bill Jamis. And once he was booted, I felt things vastly improved.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
You mean Bob Ayers?
No, Bill Jamis. He was the publisher. He was the publisher before Dan Buckley.
The publisher, right.
And he was so involved. It's because of him we got fucking Origin. Like, fuck that. I don't like Bill Jamis. Period. Full stop. But I don't like what he's done to comics. I've never met him. I don't know the man personally. I don't like what he's done to comics, is what I'm saying. But yeah, he's the one who fucking gave us You Decide and Marvel and fucking Trouble. Like, there was no good. He's the Vince Russo of Marvel Comics.
Thank you. There you go.
Well, good luck to Wagner. Good luck to all of y'all Marvel employees. You have to decide if you want to uproot your families from the East Coast to the West Coast. I'm sure most of you will to do that. Yeah. So. LA's
there you go.
Good place to live.
Yeah. Still falls into the sea, then not so great.
Until we get Otis.
Well, our brother Justin was like, "Oh, I don't know. They got to pay those higher taxes." I'm my guy. I'm like, one of the only places you can move to LA and pay less taxes is from New York City. So that ain't a concern. If you're already working in Manhattan, your taxes aren't changing going to LA.
Plus, I mean, if you're pissed off about New York winters, I don't think you'd mind whatever the taxes might be.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm just saying, like financially.
Yeah,
I mean,
financially,
yes,
yes.
LA is one of the most expensive places in the country to live, but it's just what happens in New York City is more. So so it's not like they're like being asked to move from like Idaho to LA, where it's like their dollar's going to go half as far. It's not that. So there
Well,
we have it.
let's get to it. We've covered the EIC news,
Yes, sir.
and now we need to take a look at Ed Brubaker and the Phillipses, 5 Gears in Reverse.
It's a fucking Christmas in July. It's a miracle. You actually finally read it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Only took a month.
yeah.
Hot diggity dog.
That said, I might as well be on YouTube. Ricky Lawless is a fuck up. Of course. of monumental.
You don't say.
Yeah,
Well,
he's a
course he
screw up.
is.
But I would do pretty much exactly the same
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
as he screws up constantly, but he screws up on the right side of the argument. He's a little extreme in his solutions, but then again, so am I. Like Ricky's the one I identify with the most. Like I would beat the fuck out of the guy that thinks the stripper is a call girl. I would probably kill him. I wouldn't do it like Ricky did it, but I would do it. I would kick the shit out of the guy. That it makes you wonder. Ricky being such an idiot. And yes, I am calling myself an idiot. What does that say about Mallory? Like she signed off on it. This is her boyfriend. Is she as bad as he? We know.
They're all, almost everyone in Criminal is fucking imbecilic. Like they make horrible life choices until they die. Like that's pretty much. And I don't think it's spoilers to say that I mean, this is a story about Ricky, but for most of Criminal's existence, Ricky's dead because
That's what
we're
I'm saying.
introduced to him as Teague arrives to avenge his brother. So it's like it's not like this is what happens to him that leads to his death. So it's like it's he's a fucking imbecile. He makes horrible choices. You're giving yourself way too much insult. Like I understand your point about being impulsive or standing up for things you believe in, but Ricky's a pretty much an abject failure in all things. I mean, he's a terrible criminal. He is a drug addict who can't control it. He is an unfaithful lover. He is untrustworthy. I mean, what redeeming qualities does he have?
Other than the untrustworthy thing, Ricky is me.
I mean, okay, that's ridiculous.
I am.
That's
I am
absurd.
very.
You're not a drug addict.
No, but
You're not a drug addict, dude.
I'm
we've
not.
known
I
each
know.
other for almost 20 years, and there have been way more opportunities for you to enjoy substances, and you've said no thanks. Like you are far from a
right. But I do have a temper, and I understand why Ricky does the things he does.
right.
Where I would get in the hotel room and not imbibe, but he can't help himself. And
Correct.
instead of the substance being cocaine, it turns out to be heroin. and heroin is bad shit. It's bad.
Oh my god, what a clown!
Yeah, but I do understand why he does what he does.
I find him fascinating as a character.
Yeah.
I think that one of my favorite things about Brubaker and Phillips is that they are so comfortable going to a place in the narrative wherever they want. Like, this is the 12th criminal arc, and like Brubaker even says in the afterword that he really, Mallory was in the second volume of Criminal. Obviously, we know of Ricky, and he just got an inkling, like out of almost nowhere, wrapping up filming for the Criminal TV show season 1, to finally explore Ricky's last moments, his last adventures before, and I just think that's awesome that they're like 20 years later, like, all right, go back and tell that story. Like, I just think that's great. And what also is great about it is that they do it, and it's fucking brilliant. Like, it's just like these guys are incapable of making a bad comic. Like, and I know we've said that a million times now, and people are probably like rolling their eyes, but they cannot make bad comics. It's like they have sacrificed some unknown number of small children to the dark gods, and they are forever able to make comics. I don't know how.
Well, Jacob sacrificed them as well, because I've yet to see Jacob stumble and fall, and most of the coloring complements the line work beautifully.
Yeah.
In this volume, where to the point where that's why I said it's illustrated by the Phillipses, because if one outshines the other, then you have a problem, right? Where I don't think that Sean and Jacob, I think they both attack the pages with equal gusto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It's a depressing as hell book.
It's Criminal.
Right. But yeah, I thought it was wonderful. Well, again, wonderful in quotes. You're gonna feel like taking a couple of showers when it's over. But for the most part, it's good. Like Jason said, it's good comics.
Yeah. And of course I meant Tracy Lawless, his brother Tracy. Teague is his dad.
Yeah, Teague is
said
dad,
Teague
yeah.
when I was, yeah.
Yeah, we see Teague a couple of times.
Yeah, I know. I think what I was saying though, we see what got I meant Tracy. Tracy comes to avenge. Tracy's his brother, comes to avenge him. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's violent as hell. I think it's the most violent sexual criminal yet.
Yeah, I mean it's super toxic, right? Like he and Mallory have a super toxic relationship, as you would expect Bonnie and Clyde to have, right? Like they're horrible for each other. They codependently feed each other's worst aspects, and that's in full display, right? Like they're not good for each other, although they think they should. They think they're each other's like one and only, but they're obviously terrible for each other.
Yeah,
they just augment each other's flaws.
Well, the whole thing is he gets a job. Ricky gets a job. Ricky screws up the job. Sucking Mallory into his fuck-upitude. And he has to wiggle his way out of it. That's basically what 5 Gears in Reverse is doing. Is showing you what a screw-up Ricky is, and that Mallory takes it, and can he wiggle his way out of it? It remains to be seen. Read the book.
Well, again,
he dies. He dies.
Yeah, I think you know that he doesn't, because we knew that 20 years ago. But yeah,
as the cover, the inside back cover is flipped, he does manage to survive.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's he's on fumes.
I'd love to see Brubaker and Phillips do a story where a heist story where they pull off the fucking crime successfully. Now, to be fair, Brubaker said very openly that like a lot of what drives Criminal is that he himself was a bit of a criminal in his early years and was a drug addict, and that he fortunately, unlike most of the characters in Criminal, learned of what a horrible path that was and changed his life for the better. So I think there is an undertone of much of when he's doing criminal that crime doesn't pay. Like eventually it will fuck you up and it'll kill you. But like I don't know. Once it'd be kind of fun to see him pull like a Ocean's 11 where like they actually do it clean and get away with it. Like that would be kind of fun. I don't know. If you're listening, Ed, give it a try.
Give it a shot. Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice. After all the doom and gloom we've experienced at his hands, pulling off a job would be not bad.
Yeah, I mean the reckless. There's some success in that, but again, they're more do-gooders than. So it's a little different, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like it's the opposite. What I absolutely adore when we're getting a criminal story is because I look at the, it's one thing to get like the image PDF and just kind of skim that or just see what you might expect, but then to actually get the physical hardcover and realize it's not exactly slim. There's a lot of pages here that I don't always see digitally. So knowing that you're going to spend some time with it is a good thing. But one thing I truly appreciate about the stories that Ed and Sean tell, especially the way Ed tells a story, is that this could just be a straightforward. Here's Ricky. Here's Mallory. Here's the shit they get into. Hopefully, Ricky's going to save Mallory at the end, and Mallory will get herself out of her trouble. And then, of course, we get Ricky being fucking oblivious after his girl leaves the bar because she's had enough for the day. But we get flashbacks, so you understand exactly why Ricky is the way he is, why Mallory is the way she is, why growing up with or living with their grandparents early on, and then being shunted off to an all-girls school, and then the shit that goes on there, and just so you get, and even some random background characters, you might get a glance at what they've gone through in their lives. So you kind of just you get the sense, you don't just meet somebody and you're like, oh, they're an asshole, and you just think they're always an asshole. No, Ricky's the way he is because of who his fucking father was, because of the family he was born into. So I mean, there's a reason why people behave and react the way they do, and Ed's kind enough to show us all the dirt and get us up to speed, so we know whether or not we kind of could be rooting for the guy, because yeah, he is a piece of shit, but he's going up against or trying to at least be better than bigger pieces of shit that he's working for or doing jobs for or owes money to. So it humanizes the characters. The way he writes characters is just, you get so invested and just so involved, and you just keep turning pages. You cannot put a book down. You can't look away. You need to see it through. And yeah, you mentioned Reckless, and I absolutely care about the characters in that book. And if anything ever happens to any of them, and it did, and I was fucking wrecked. And I think whether they are absolute criminals, as no pun intended, or they are trying to do good, you feel some kind of way about it. Because you very easily could read this and just be like, well, okay, so I'm glad Ricky dies eventually, or I just want to see him keep getting the crap beat out of him, but then you realize why he is the way he is, and when he fucking beats the shit out of and takes out a dude who raped somebody just because is what he paid for. Like I have no problem rooting for somebody like Ricky Lawless. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Yeah, he's a fuck up, but he as I haven't known people exactly like Ricky, but he is the type of person who you'd want in your corner. I mean, hopefully on a good day. I wouldn't want him to wake up in the wrong fucking hotel because he got the goddamn name wrong, and that's, he didn't take the money. It's fucking schematic. So he's somebody you'd want in his right mind. But yeah, this was just, it was just another banger. Like it's silly now as we know we're going to get a Brubaker and Phillips comic, and we're going to talk about it, and we're not going to really have anything bad to say about it. We just kind of have to talk about the subject matter a bit and about how great the creators are at telling this story.
It's like okay, no notes. It's like Brubaker, no notes. Yeah,
that's just go ahead and read it. But I mean the fact that it's just, but they're going to go ahead and either poke around the past in the criminal mythos, or give us something like Reckless, or then do the the standalones like Night Fever or Houses of the Unholy, and we always look forward to it. It's always exciting when we know that there's something new coming. You might get a little bit more of a tingle if it's in an established universe like Criminal, but this was I don't know how many more Lawless family members there are that we can read about, but I don't, I'm not going to be upset if as we find out. This was fantastic. I mean, the pull quotes on the back don't lie. And yes, it's of course, streaming soon on Prime, but I am so glad that these two creators and now with Sean's son Jacob, but that these creators keep playing in this sandbox and just keep telling us just keep telling fantastic story after fantastic story with these characters.
I think Ricky wants to be a criminal.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
he wants to follow in Dad's footsteps.
He wants to make his wants to do it. Yeah, it takes. I mean, he loves. I mean, his dad was shitty, but he loves his dad. He wants.
He does. He has every chance to take a normal job, but he refuses to do it, and he wants to the quick and dirty, down and easy money, and his life suffered because of it. And what started with his father perpetuates to the child, and we know how it turns out, but it'll keep going. And
he's Ricky, an outlaw until the end.
Yeah, Ricky had plenty of opportunity to kind of clean up his act, but he didn't do it. So
yeah, well, right. I mean, because you think about it, like Tracy obviously escapes it, but he ends up escaping it by becoming a soldier and a killing machine, and then we learn, of course. I mean, he's broken too, and then ends up getting pulled into the vortex, in part to avenge his brother. But like he had, like Tracy at least comes from a place where he tried or thought he was trying to escape the toxicity. But then his feelings of guilt for leaving bring him back to try and avenge his brother, and then of course the rest is history. But like to your point, like Ricky romanticized his dad. He thought his dad was the fucking shit, as many of us do with our dads, right? Like, but like he and saw the best parts of his dad's life, even though his dad had a fucking horrible life. His dad was always
horrible.
Didn't have a pot to piss in. Was always either hunting someone or on the hunt for us. Like it's not like Teague was some criminal mastermind. He was a two-bit hustler himself. But like, it's just such a rich tapestry that they lay. And all the characters. They don't ever waste time with like superfluous characters just to fill narrative. They give you, and they know just the right amount of to give you about a character. Because again, like we've met Mallory before, but we didn't know much about her. But she played a big role in that early volume of Criminal, and but we never knew anything about her. And then but they always had it in their tuck, like, oh, we have this character Mallory, like we can, and then they create this really rich backstory, which to Dap's point makes us like not necessarily root for her, but care about her and identify with her in a way that makes her outcomes feel more significant as we're reading it than we would if she was just hot girlfriend insert here. So it's like it's just they're just absolute masters. And to your point, Dap, like we run out of superlatives. It's probably sound like a broken record, but I just think every 6 to 9 months when we get another one of these and I crack it open, I'm usually like, oh yeah, new, that's cool, and then I close it, I'm like, motherfuck, I'm like, these fucks are so good, and we forget how good they are because they're so good all the time. And then you read, and you're like, they're so fucking good. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
I shouldn't say this, but well, I think the $24.99 list is too cheap for it.
Too cheap?
Shut your
Yeah,
mouth.
because of the quality, you mean?
Yeah, because of the quality.
Oh. Yeah, well, I mean,
You can
I
always
don't
find
mind it, but
Yeah.
I think it's a little. They could charge more.
well, listen, I don't know. I mean, we'll know soon enough how the Amazon show is, but I have to say I am, and maybe because I'm looking for green shoots, but I am pretty excited by how openly excited Brubaker is about it. Because I don't know if you guys have read interviews or listened to podcasts with Ed. Like, he's not exactly like, Mr. Ebullience. Like, he's not like all smiles. He's not Sanford Green. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like looking on the bright side of life. Like God is good. He's a pretty serious dude. That's like, he's also not like, I'm not saying he's a mope, but like, he's not one that seemingly goes out of his way to like be excited about things, at least publicly. And yet, I feel like dude is mad proud of this show. Like, I feel like it must have, at least to his mind, pulled off the show. Which is exciting.
Good for him.
Because if you juxtapose that against like, and I'm not going to throw people, but like, there have been plenty of other creators that we know who've had some of their stuff turned into TV, and I feel like you don't see them repping for it as much. You don't see I'm sure they're happy to take the check. I'm sure they're not mad about the financials, but like they're not exactly out there like repping for the show. Like they're like, oh, read my comic about that the show is based on. But Ed seems legit stoked about the way that the season turned out. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Good.
Yes. Tell us what you enjoyed. Each one of you.
Well, I got to hear what our boo thought about his boo being back.
Oh, you take my travels. Okay.
Oh no, if that's your travels. No, that's fine. No, we can pause it. I'll talk about a book that's going to make Vince happy.
Okay.
I received the last voyage of Sindbad.
Yes.
What time?
Yes, written by Jan Strnad. Well, co-written by Jan Strnad and Richard Corben, and art by Richard Corben. Yes, as Vince has joked about me needing to catch up on the Corben. I think the last time we talked about it, I said, I literally just ordered the Sindbad from Cheap Graphic Novels, and it finally arrived. The TLDR here is that this is far and away, so far, the favorite thing I've read of these Corben collections.
Yeah, better than Den?
I did like it better than Den, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Tell me why.
Yeah. But I loved it. I mean, I said I loved it. I like it, but I just thought, first of all, I think maybe the reason is because it is an adaptation of a mythological. Well, I don't know if mythological is fair. Of a classic set of fictional tales that I already had a fondness for. Like the 1001 Arabian Nights is a concept that I have always found enjoyable, and I loved when Fables did it. Right, I think it's a rich tapestry. I actually think you could do a lot. Like I think you could do an awesome show with it, right? Or like, again, I just think there's a lot that has been done and can be done with it. It's a concept I dig. So the idea that that's where they were starting from was a great seed to plant, to grow the plant. I thought that I often don't love when books are titillating but not sexual. Like I've said many times, like I'd rather the book be not sexual at all or sexual, but I don't really do much. I'm not like a huge fan of fan service. Like that doesn't like it's kind of like too in the gray. Like I'm give me the sex or don't, but like don't like tease it. That doesn't really serve any purpose to me. So I thought this book did a nice job of, it's absolutely an adult book, but but it's not in any way overtly sexual like some of their work, like some of Corben's other works are. But I feel like it just crossed the net of being like direct enough in its sexuality that I didn't feel like they were playing the fan service game. I think the way that they adapted the Thousand One Arabian Nights into a more adult, nihilistic, sinful take was brilliant. And as Strnad says in the foreword, because he actually sadly notes that he's like the only one left alive from that made these stories, which is a bummer. But he was saying, this is the third version of this collection-wise, because the first, of course, was syndicated through Metal Hurlant, and then they reprinted it in the 80s, and then it's really was out of print for a long time, and now we have this version. And he said that everyone else involved has unfortunately passed away. But I agree with what he said, which is that when he went back and looked at it, when he compares this to other collaborations that he did with Corben, that like for him the art just sings. And I have to agree with him. I thought the art was just absolutely stunning. I mean, from the from the color play, the brushwork, like everything, just like the I just thought everything about the visuals just blew me away. I mean, it almost looked three-dimensional on a lot of pages. I thought it was masterful. And it was really well paced, and I was in it. Like, I was in it in all ways. The narrative worked for me, the visuals worked for me, the structure worked for me, the pacing worked for me. I would have been happy to have 5 other volumes of her telling stories from the 1001 Nights. And I even love the way that they decide to end the story of her finishing the story and her sister escaping away with her lover. I just thought the whole thing was great, man. So salute to Corben, salute to Strnad. Salute to you for making me buy this book. I thought it was delicious.
All time. Yeah, and it didn't help me being so accessible to you. You were already familiar with the mythology, where you didn't have to read untold volumes before. Yeah, and I think Corben actually reined it in a bit, where like Mercury World and Mutant World and other Rolf, where he's very expressive and takes chances. He plays it pretty much close to the vest in Sindbad, where I think that's a good thing. It still showcases his ability as an illustrator, but it's not as wild and wacky as he tends to get.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but what you do get is you get absolutely beautiful, voluptuous women, right? Like naked, scantily clad. You get I think you get the Corben monster stuff with the djinns, right? Like you get a couple different awesome looking djinns, and then of course once you get to the part where she's telling the stories of Sindbad, you get a ton of straight up out of the mind of like Harryhausen, like these incredibly grotesque and fantastical creatures that he's fighting and slaying. So I just think that you had all the elements there that let Corben be Corben and like strut his stuff, which is super sexy women and wild, crazy, fantastical creatures. And to your point though, it's like a little bit more of a familiar, tighter narrative, which again worked for me. So
right, good for you.
Yeah, I loved it. Good for them. And good for Dark Horse for fucking bringing this back into the world after, 30 years of being out of print, basically.
It's a long time. Yeah.
I got my copy downstairs.
I have the... You best keep reading it. I have the paperback from, I don't know.
I think I looked. I think it was like 86, right? Like there's
around there. Yeah. So I'm double, triple, quadruple dipping, but the Dark Horse editions are the superlative editions. They are flawless. Yeah.
I changed my mind because instead of because I don't want In Your Travels to go on for days, and if I'm going to talk about a Matt Wagner book, I can have a tendency to go on for days. But anyway, Grendel is back. What would have been, I thought, a trilogy of 4-issue miniseries, giving us 12 issues. According to the back matter, according to the letters page, there will be a fourth 4-issue series. We had Crucible. Now, this week, we get the first issue of Grendel. I'm sorry. It wasn't. It's Devil's Crucible is part of the title. The first series was Grendel, Devil's Crucible, Defiance. Now we have Grendel, Devil's Crucible, Sedition, which will be followed by, after a couple of months following the fourth issue, we will then get Necrotic, which I thought it was where it was going to end, but apparently we will be getting Purgation, which will be, as of right now, the last of this particular series. But in any event, first issue kicks off, and some time has passed since the end of the previous miniseries, because at the end of the previous miniseries, the clone of Christine Spar had emerged from her tank thanks to Prime's assistance with his power packs, and apparently he's been training her. But in this issue, we get whereas the first series we saw things, heard things, read things from the point of view of Grendel Prime. Here we get the thoughts and feelings of Christine Spar, now known as Exnine, and she kind of just getting right back at it. She is extremely capable. She is taking on AGs on her own for the most part. They're and man, first of all, Matt Wagner, the way, I don't know if he's gotten older, he's working through some things. There, the words, the terms that the bad guys use are rough. They kind of they almost make me kind of tense up when I read them, because there is early on in the issue, before she reveals herself, the guards are trying to inspect the wagon that she's pulling, and it's pretty much obvious. We all know who's in this wagon. She says it's her dead father. He was a farmer, which is why, under this tarp he's so big and strong. But they tell her, listen, I can't tell if you're a ram or a bitch under that getup, but it don't matter. We each take a turn at wetting your crack, and you can pass without us disturbing dear old dead dad. And I'm just like, what? Mm-hmm. What would possess somebody to just... Yeah, these are the words I just want to have come out of someone's mouth. But she literally makes them eat those words. There is a and also, Matt, man, there are some this is a great segue from Corben. I feel that there are some artists who just naturally respect certain female features, certain parts of the anatomy, and Matt seems to really appreciate, as far as I could tell, and get him back on the show, I'll ask him this, but I feel that Matt appreciates breasts, and there are and you can see it on the cover of the second issue. She is clad in leather, and it is thick leather, and it's tight leather, but it's thick, and he is still letting you know that even in the future women have nipples, and there are there's, as far as the story itself in this issue, the vampires, of course, still are present, but the Grendels are basically the resistance, and they, during one of their trips to one of the levels, the vampires are it's the one of the levels in their tower. There's a whole where you have people wandering around. half naked, mostly naked. There's the Wheel of Pleasure, all you can eat. There's the Hito Church where you can eat, mate, and obey. Like there's so the vampires are going down there and they're wandering through the whole breads and circuses shtick, and they're talking about whether or not they should. It doesn't make sense to scare your food because they taste awful because they get that adrenaline surge and they're having conversations about how best to prepare, how best to serve man, and you've got while they're having their conversation, X-Teen using one of the drones that communicates back to headquarters. We see she's basically taken over the airwaves, and she's telling the masses that the Necrolords are not your masters. You've traded liberty and dignity for the comfort to feast and frolic, and basically just letting everybody know that there's a better way, and you don't need to live under the heel of your oppressors. And everybody's kind of cheering this. Of course, the Necrolords aren't too thrilled about it, and they cop an attitude. But then after they leave that level, because now that everybody's so feeling some kind of way, they know that these people aren't necessarily going to taste as good, so they go back to their lair. But we go back to Prime and X-Teen, and they're talking about the mission and how the day's events went as far as the guards that they had just disposed of. She's and what's great is she is, while she's talking to Prime, she understands well, I mean, she and rightfully so, she refers to him as the Paladin, but while he's been active for centuries, and she's basically been in stasis. He's it's a human consciousness housed inside a mechanical shell, and he is extremely, or surprisingly, she says, empathetic, and he is, because he's talking about she was having nightmares, but the pills that Dr. Eng have given her have helped. She's not waking up screaming anymore, and he reminds her, that the loss of your son is still raw. Of course, it's going to. I mean, yes, you've been asleep, for lack of a better term, but I mean, still, as far as it, you still remember it. So it's understandable that you'd feel a certain way about certain things, but she's learning. He's trained her. She's a better fighter than she was, and she talks about her past a little bit. So I mean, and this, I don't know too many people who are just going to pick up the first issue of this and not necessarily know. Props to Jim Shooter. Not know that. I don't know if this is going to be somebody's first comic. If it is, great, welcome. You've got a lot of reading to do, but this is written for people who are familiar with not just the Grendel lore, but also with Christine Sparr's origin. So if you read the first 12 issues of the Kamiko series, you're up to speed with what you need for here. But she even, she mentions Anson. Anson Sparr, of course, is her son, who was killed by, and I realize I just said, hey, if you read this, you should go ahead and read those first 12 issues. So spoilers for a comic that's 30 fucking years old. But Anson, her son, was killed by a vampire. And that's what basically spurred her to take on the mantle and go after Trujillo. But yeah, I I'm glad it's back. I'm glad we get to continue the story. It's been longer than a minute, and I understand. Listen, he's working. These are coming out when they come out. I don't know if there was a prolonged wait between the series, if this was always planned from the fourth issue of the previous one to this week, but I'm glad it's back. I'm glad I've got 4 months now, to 4-ish months to look forward to this before we move on to the next one. But it looks great. It's great to see Christine again. It's great to see Matt drawing Christine, because in the Kamiko series, she was the Pander brothers were the artist on that arc. There was a mention of Brian, which was her boyfriend. But Brennan's colors on Dad's lines are great. I mean, it's a family affair episode, apparently, with the Phillips and the Wagner. So this is fun. It's a great first issue. I thought it was what I needed. I was happy. It's I complete 180 from last week, but no, this was what I wanted. It was kind of what I don't know what I don't want to say this is exactly what I expected, but I was in the passenger seat. Matt took me for a ride. I was loving every page of it. So yeah, I'm super stoked. So happy it's back, and yeah, I get to talk about Grendel for a couple months now.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad you just touched on it. I was going to ask you, I mean, I was curious, having read it, like what you thought of him bringing Christine Spar back. I mean, obviously it's a clone of Christine Spar far in the future, but like it's still visually and, functionally her. It sounds like you were happy for it. I was sitting as I was reading thinking, like, does it make sense that like there's a clone of Christine Spar? But then I thought, well, it doesn't have to make sense, right? This is ultimately just about Matt wanting to do cool shit with the stuff he's created. And so he probably was like, yeah, I'm gonna bring Christine back. And like, so like it all makes sense in that, like, it doesn't have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, it's not that deep. Like, it doesn't he could just be, he wants to have, that's cool. So like, that's kind of where I left it with that's where I was left with it, but it sounds like you were too.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to guess, and I'm not trying to imagine or wish for anything, but I mean, if we get Epi in an upcoming miniseries, a clone of Epi Thatcher, I ain't gonna be mad at that. Like, if he wants to play around and just have a last hurrah with some Grendels from the past, it'd be a great send off. If this is where he kind of wants to end or finish the Grendel saga, but if he wants to keep bringing Grendels back, I'm all for it.
Nice. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Nice.
I think Vince fell asleep.
I did not.
He didn't love the first series, so.
No, he hasn't been really on board.
No, I think
journey.
my opinion is relevant. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Nice.
David.
I'd say your opinion isn't relevant. No.
Yeah.
I still like to know your thoughts. It's fine.
I think Matt's out of ideas.
Well.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I would also point out for those that Matt is currently also making incredibly amazing Dracula.
Right. Yeah. With Kelly Jones looking
Kelly
better
Jones hasn't looked as good in
years.
Kelly Jones hasn't looked as good in decades. So
yeah. Wow. Years. Yeah.
Decades, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight decades, but yeah, nice.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers.
It's decades, but
yeah.
totally, yeah, in decades.
Years.
There's 10 years in a decade, so we're both.
You're
we're
gonna say. Okay.
Oh shit.
Let me briefly regale you with Kingdom of Earth #1. Kingdom of Earth #1, written by Davis Dastmalchian.
Oh okay. Yeah, nice. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
If I have to, Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah.
Gotham.
Yeah, Late Night with the Devil is that's the
but he has a partner on this, and it's Leah Kilpatrick. Art by Sue Lee. Now, I was a bit hesitant because Sue Lee is both good and bad in my estimation. Letters by Frank Svetkovic. Now, it is a post-apocalyptic thing,
Yep.
fantasy book that has a map in the beginning.
There
All as all good fantasy has a map in the beginning, but it details the 4 territories, but there's really 5. So if you can overlook that, we have the Western Territory, the Barren Zone, the Northern Territory, the Eastern Territory, and the Underlands. Okay? What the deal here is that human beings are cargo freighted to feed demons. Monsters.
Naturally.
Yeah. Whereas the overseer of the train is a fuck up, which seems to be a theme this episode. The overseer is a screw up, and all of the humans arrive dead. That's a problem. Where a demon, a monster, will eat a dead human being, but preferably we want the blood flowing. Where you have this overseer named Orpheus Nox, which the back matter tells us is a dark watcher. Shadowy, very smart, curvaceous woman, administrator, where she's having problems because it's not the first time this month or this, but there's this little skit inserted into the narrative where a full moon is longer. A couple full moons is longer than a month. She's having transportation issues. The humans are ending up dead. So she has the overseer killed, and Virago, known in the back matter as an Ozark Howler. There's a concordance in the back that shows the Dark Watcher and the Ozark Howler and the characteristics of each and things that make them special and, back matter, right? Which Virago is a giant horned, shaggy dog wolf thing. That's the best I can explain. Which is the new overseer of the livestock. But the monsters rule the Northern Territory. They tried for 2 years to make a functioning civilization, but to no effect. If only one human lives outside their rule, it all falls apart, right? Enter the human, because one of the livestock is alive, and it's a girl. And she's hidden in the train, this part I thought was heavy-handed, dons an American flag, and runs, alerting Virago of her presence, right? Along the way, we get glimpses of what happened, zombies, etc. She's captured and given an ultimatum. Now, Virago must need the girl for something, or she'd be dead, right? Virago, and the girl are spotted along the way. It's a quick read, very fast, very minimal dialogue, but I'm going to sound like Dap here. The potential of the issue is what I'm focusing on, because it raises a lot of questions, like who is this girl? Why is she alive? What is Virago planning with the girl? Right? And if you're talking fantasy, you're talking my language. You're speaking my language, right? The codex in the back only adds to the presence of the formatter. I thought it was it the best comic on the stands? No, no, not by far. But it was fun. I feel like it got my money's worth. And again, what happened to humanity? Why are human beings being fed to monsters? Like, who is this girl? There's so many questions. But read it and find out for yourself. It's part of a 4-issue miniseries where I'm thinking that Dastmalchian and Kilpatrick are planning to take this further than 4 issues, because 4 issues are not going to do it. Then they're not going to cover it. It's Kingdom of Earth #1, where I think it is a hell of a lot of fun.
I'm gonna check it out.
Nice. I'm glad to hear. I was hoping you would read this and then tell me about it, because I think Dastmalchian's a really cool creator, actor. Right? Like,
He's got good ideas.
He has good ideas, but they're ideas that are proliferated by better writers than he.
Yeah, he knows. He knows who to team up with.
Yeah. He understands. Okay, post-apocalyptic thing.
Yeah.
Demons, monsters thing. Humans being force-fed as livestock thing. It scratches all the itches. Like who is this woman? Like the Orpheus Nox. What is Dark Watcher? Like, we're told that a Dark Watcher is, but they're supposed to be very smart. But who is she really? Like, it asks more questions than it answers, which is, I think, the job of her first issue, right? Keep it reading. Whereas I'm sticking with it. I think it's fun. It's fun comics.
Nice.
Yeah. There you go.
Glad to hear it.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Please, if you want to pay less than retail for your comics, go to cheapgraphicnovels.com. Less than retail. Now, far less. You could say less than retail, but big deal. Penny, 2 pennies, blah. Far less than retail. Leave us a review where you have seen this, or you have listened to this, and support our Patreon. Patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. 1 run, no apostrophe, 3 tiers, $1, $5, $10. That's it. In your travels, I'm going to clean up my list a bit, so to speak, because I'm sick and tired of seeing the same things pop up on the list. So, in the effort of cleaning house, so to speak, I will regale you with a sentence or two on a number of books. Transformers UK Compendium 1. Sammy takes the place of the Witwickies in this book, where I'm glad this book exists. And it is a monster of a book. It is gigundo. I don't have it in front of me, but it must be at least 700 pages. 600,
1064.
There you go. It is crazy. It's crazy big. But I'm glad, because what the Transformers UK Compendium does is it fleshes out the scenes between the United States Transformers. Hence the Kickstarter that did the US Transformers and the UK Transformers. They're not the same story, but they are. That's the best I could put it. Written and illustrated by Naono Yoshiko, Hide and Seek, which is another in the list of smudge books. With, I think there's one exception, but the protagonists in all of these stories are female. Now, what that says about Yoshiko is your guess is as good as mine, but it is not a pleasant read, and it the disgusting debauchery, not nice things that happen to girls. Yes. Yes, I think you should read it. That would absolutely hate it. If you want to see pastiches of Harvey Kurtzman and Jack Davis done by a master cartoonist, check out Rich Tommaso's Ape #1. It is a it's a pastiche on Mad, focusing on those artists that I mentioned, done by Rich Tommaso, and it's glorious. It's a little spendy. It's $6 for a cardstock cover and newsprint interiors, but it's full color. It's wonderful, and I bought it, and I read it, and I loved it. Tankers versus Ancient Aliens #1. Oh, I have a I have a love-hate relationship with Bad Idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and me both, brother.
The Tankers miniseries, which was written by Robert Venditti, with art by Juan José Rip. So
That's your boo.
Yeah, that's my view. Andrew Dawes, the color art. The trade is actually, well, when you say Rip, you think hyper detailed. That doesn't do it justice. It is fucking detailed. It is crazy detailed. But the cover, which features one of the I won't get into the story, which features one of the tankers being bit by T-Rex. The T-Rex isn't green. Why is that important, you may ask? Well, the Tankers versus Ancient Aliens miniseries, which was written by Thomas Venditti, with art by Tomás Giorello, whom I love as well, and Trevor Hairsine, with Kenny Wong. The cover is exactly, well, almost exactly the same as the Tanker's trade paperback. With the difference being the T-Rex is red. The collected edition, the T-Rex is green. The Tankers versus the Ancient Aliens, the T-Rex is red. Like,
Okay.
I did not pay for a cover I already had.
Okay.
Sure.
What, would you be pissed off?
Well, I don't really care about covers, so.
Yeah, but it's the same cover. It's the
No,
same.
I mean, I'm just saying I don't buy comics for the cover, good or bad, ever. So I don't care.
And the story is fun. It's dinosaurs, so it's going to bring a bunch of bells with me. I think that the fact that the Ancient Aliens cover is the same as the trade is borderline shitty.
I don't disagree with you.
But no, it's silly. Had I known that, I would have picked a different cover. Maybe the onus is on me for not researching enough. Now I get not the consumer friendly cover. Now I get the weird covers, the which are more, for more or less. But yeah, bad idea. I love them and I hate them all the same
Yeah.
time. To finish off on an up note, it is the tale of the Airtight Garage by Mœbius, called The Depressed Hunter. And it is basically Major Gruber going back to the Airtight Garage to solve his own murder. What? But along the way, you get extra. It's basically a psychoanalytical look at Major Gruber or Mœbius. The drawing is impeccable. It is outstanding, and which can be interpreted in various ways. So what I got out of it is not the same thing that Jason is going to get out of it. Is not the same thing that Jason or you listening, David, or you listening at home is going to get out of it. It's extremely, extremely surreal. But at the hand of a master illustrator like Mobius, it is breathtaking. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. You can heap on superlatives till you're blue in the face. It is amazing. The Depressed Hunter, a tale of the airtight garage. It's Mobius. Like, again, Brubaker and Phillips squared. How can we heap upon them superlatives that we haven't used already? Same thing happens with Mobius. Like, what can I say about this book that will, if you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it? You know, it is unbelievable. There you go.
Too true.
Respect.
Yeah. So I cleaned up some of my list.
Love it. Well, I'm not going to clean up some of my list. I will mention. I won't go too long because the story is still taking place. But I was catching up on Deathstroke Terminator since issue 5 came out this week. I went back and realized I had number 4 ready to go, but somehow hadn't gotten read. So I was able to read 4 and 5, and in issue 4, because at the end of issue 3, Slade was about to get taken out by both Deadshot and Deathblow, but Ravager sort of kind of saves the day, and it's because if anybody's going to take out Dad, it's going to be her. So she tranks them, leaves them tied up in the desert, and then she and Dad drive off. They have a little bit of a heart-to-heart. They have a conversation over a club sandwich and some chicken fajita wraps, and they talk about Wintergreen, and then they get into an argument. Slade drives off, Rose drives off, and the person who is kind of pulling the strings, Deadshots and Deathblow's strings, orders them to snatch Rose once Slade is out of range. And that's where the 5th issue comes in, because Slade needs money, and because he needs to find out who took out Wintergreen, who's taking out his safe houses, who's always one step ahead of him. And so he's picking up little jobs on the dark web here and there, and or where you can find them. And there's one in particular where he's going to take out some dude who's always wanted a son, and his wife have 4 children, and they're all daughters. So he's stepping out on his wife. He found somebody younger, and so the ex is ready to take a hit out on him. That's where Slade comes in. Things don't necessarily go according to plan, unfortunately. And then we find out who is actually pulling these strings, and who snatched Rose, and that's revealed at the end of the 5th issue. Might have been revealed even sooner if you saw Tony's variant cover at Heroes. That's available. But I'm blown away. I read a lot of Deathstroke comics. This is a lot of fun. I don't like seeing Slade like this, even though you could say it's what he deserves, because the man is a heartless killer. But there's something about the character, and I do not like seeing him in these predicaments, in these situations. I do not like seeing him without Wintergreen. Do not like Riggs and him. So I just do not want to. I'm dying to see where this goes, and how Tony takes us through this drama. I shouldn't be surprised that this is the way things are going. It absolutely makes sense when you kind of just sit back and kind of think about it. But it's a hell of a ride. So it is, as I said, Tony Fleecs is your writer. Carmine Di Domenico is your artist. Even on Placencia on colors. Wes Abbott's been doing some great work on the letters. But yeah, in your travels, get caught up on Deathstroke the Terminator.
Somewhat linked, but not really. I have a small bone to pick with Scotty.
Oh?
Okay.
Yeah,
He's not going to hear this anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah, his Lobo, Supergirl, really? Like, who didn't see that coming?
Yeah, well.
I mean, dude.
Whether it's editorial or not, you're Scotty Young. You can do what you want.
No.
Yeah. But still.
I mean, you call me a hype beast, but Scotty's the ultimate hype beast.
Right. Well, yeah. But Lobo appeared in the Supergirl movie. So yes. Supergirl appears in a Lobo comic. Come on.
And Lobo appears in the Supergirl of Summer special. So, tit for tat.
Come on. Yeah, come on. It's
just like Punisher is in every Spider-Man movie, a comic book right now, bro. Like you can't stop the machine.
I would expect Punisher to show up in some of the Spider-Man comics. Lobo, really?
Yes.
Like, who's the bad guy? Who is the arch enemy of Lobo? I would think Superman more than Supergirl.
Well, yeah, but Superman doesn't have a movie until next year, so
exactly. It's all based on the movie, but Marvel got in trouble for doing that kind of shit. The DC, I thought I didn't think they were better, but
remember Scotty wrote a Rocket and Groot comic during when the Guardians movie came out.
Yeah, that's true. What's your problem?
He knows where his bread is buttered, dog.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, but it's Scotty.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
He's better than that. He's better than
sure.
That.
He's all about making that cake.
Yes.
He's got enough cake.
No, there's no such thing.
He might disagree. I mean,
yeah, he's got kids, man.
He's got tons of cake. Yeah.
Tons of cake. He is definitely caking up for sure. Well, I introduced myself as Sid the White Stag, which is a tell for what my In Your Travels is going to be. In Your Travels, if you haven't already, please do check out 3 Worlds/3 Moons, Foundations, #1. A whole bunch of people involved in this. Jonathan Hickman, Nick Spencer, Mike Del Mundo, Mike Huddleston, Jerome Pena, a litany of others, Russ Wooten, Matt Hollingsworth. I have been waiting with bated breath for this to hit print. I guess about 4 years ago now, as we talked about with the EOC change, a lot of conceptual continuity here with Steve Wacker. Hickman and the other guys decided to launch their own collective and were putting out their comics on Substack. Now, part of the reason for that is because Nick Spencer, you may recall when we had Scotty on years ago talking about the whole Substack thing, Nick Spencer was the point person for Substack that got all the comics people to join Substack. So I'm sure that's why they chose that platform. Now, hopefully that served them well. Don't know if it did or didn't. But I, myself, never really glommed onto reading comics in that delivery system. It just didn't work for me. So I have waited for a number of different things that were done there to make their way to print. Not last year we got Brian K. Vaughan and Nico Henriksen's Spectators, which was also made on Substack, and they brought it over. And now we're getting the 3 World, 3 Moon stuff. Foundations is, in a way, like a primer. You know, I wouldn't call it a 0 issue because it's like almost 50 pages, but it's like a primer. It's kind of setting the table for things that are to come. And I absolutely adored it. This is everything that makes me love Jonathan Hickman. Like you said, Vince, every good fantasy story needs maps, and Hickman gives us maps. Hickman has the infographics, which of course he's known for with his creator-owned stuff. But the artists that he's got working with him, I mean, can you ask for a better trio than Huddleston, Del Mundo, and Opeña? I mean, come on. That's fucking off the charts. And this is a very layered, very intricate, futuristic sci-fi world, or universe, I should say. And we are introduced in this issue mainly to, I mean, there's a couple different chapters, but mainly we learn about, and I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but Tajo, Tajo, Valar, Vallar. He's sort of the protagonist, at least as far as we're led to believe in this beginning here. He's an astronaut in a world where they have to go away and do exploratory things, kind of like, you know, Star Trek vibes. But we meet Tajo as he's reading a bedtime story to his kiddo and explaining that he has to go away on a mission. And he's only supposed to be gone for 3 days. And then we find out that he's been gone for much, much, much longer. And then we juxtapose over to this world where they went to explore. And basically they are trying to acquire knowledge of this ancient civilization that they've discovered. And it's just taking much longer because they just found a lot more than they expected. And we meet his teammates and each of their specialties and what they're trying to learn. And he's narrating the story as well as also narrating a letter that he's sending, like an email, like, you know, a futuristic space email where you can kind of send it, but like a letter to his kid, explaining, or to his wife rather, explaining, you know, how sorry he is that he's taking so long, and that he assumes she just doesn't believe a word he says anymore because he swore to her that he wouldn't be gone for long, and he's been gone, but that like he's going to come back to her. And then, you know, of course, because it wouldn't be a very interesting comic setup if this were the case, things go fucking horribly wrong, and things, you know, things begun to unravel, and the deeper they get into this world that they're exploring, the crazier things get. And I just thought it was absolutely delightful. The character designs, we meet a number, I don't know if they're gods or aliens or alien gods, maybe all of those things combined. I guess we'll find out, but like each one just looks like super crazy and different. Like they, you know, they almost look like fever dream celestials if you're on LSD. And the most normal, in quotes, of the quartet of these omnipowerful beings is Sid the White Stag, and he's basically an anthropomorphic deer, but he's also got like crazy like mutated facial scarring, and he's kind of like rainbow colored, and just the whole thing is just fascinating. I mean, everything about the just has my brain firing on a million neurons, and just excited to learn more about every piece of it, because you know, this is a book designed to make you have as many questions closing the book as you do answers, and that's one of the things again I love about Hickman. So thought it was fantastic. There's a bunch more coming. You know, they're going to deluge us with the stuff in print form now. I can't wait for it. I thought this did what a first issue should do, which is get you really excited and curious about what's to come, and looks great doing it. So if you're at all a Hickman fan, if you're at all a fan of complex sci-fi stories, then you should absolutely make sure that you get around to reading Foundations #1.
There you go. Nice. Please do yourself a favor and say good night. Oh, something. David.
Good night.
Oh, will you give him that one?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay, we'll give him that one. Be back next week. We love you so much.
So much.
Later, bye.
Peas and Hargris.
Read books.
Read those books.
That's it for that one.